for India to exit the FIH Hockey Women's World Cup. For close to 57 minutes, the India women's hockey team displayed a style of hockey that was unseen and it was simply phenomenal. It wasn't led by the midfielders, it wasn't led by the attackers, it was led by goalkeepers. This India versus Spain encounter was thrilling for the fact that we witnessed some magnificent exhibition of goalkeeping, one from Savita Punia and another from the Spanish goalkeeper Garcia. In the end, 57 minutes of attritional play, India and Spain seemed as if they were going to go into sudden death penalties. But 57 minutes in the final quarter, Spain finally managed to break India's solid defense. India managed to just hold on, but at the end of the day, Spain have now emerged 1-0 victors in the FIH Hockey Women's World Cup. This was the crossover game, let me tell you folks. And that is why now you see that Spain have reached the quarterfinal of the FIH Women's World Cup. For India, the dream is over. Now it is very important to understand how India came into the situation. In the league stages, India had draws against England and China, 1-1 draws. However, in the game against New Zealand, they were almost 1 minute away from elimination. They were down 2-4. But because they scored in the last minute, they ended up losing 3-4. But due to superior goal difference, they managed to seal the third spot in Group B. So, the crossover format in the FIH Hockey Women's World Cup was that the second and third place groups, the top four teams in the four groups, would seal the quarterfinal spot automatically. But number 2 and number 3 would face off in the crossovers. So, India were drawn with Spain in the crossover game. Heading into this match, India had plenty of confidence because they have a superior head-to-head record against Spain. It was 7-5 in their favor. But in their previous two encounters, India had beaten Spain in the first match, but Spain had beaten India 4-3. So unfortunately, even here, India and Spain played out some magnificent hockey. But it was once again the tale of missed chances. In the league stages, we had seen Vandana Kataria at her absolute brilliance. But here, they were just outdone. The Spanish defense, and in particular Garcia, the goalkeeper, denied India so many chances. But if Garcia was the main player in the Spanish camp, then Savita Punia, from today onwards, I think we can call her Save Ita Punia. Why? Because she stopped so many penalty chances. She nearly saved about 6 penalty chances. If it was not for Savita Punia, India would have had a drubbing today against Spain. But Save Ita Punia or Savita Punia was at her absolute brilliance and she led from the front. Navjot Kaur, Vandana Qatar. By the way, Navjot was playing a 200th cap today and it showed. There were chances created even by Deep Grace Eka, and as well as, if you have to look at it, even Vandana Kataria had a relatively quiet game. 57 minutes of real attritional play. Q1, Q2, Q3 all ended in a stalemate. But unfortunately, in the 57th minute, India conceded a goal. There was still a ray of hope, by the way. In the last 70 seconds, Spain were down to 9 players. And also, even India were down to 10 players. Numerically also, India had a great advantage against Spain. But unfortunately, time was very little. And that is why India, unfortunately, are now out of the tournament. It has been a very mixed campaign for the India women's hockey team. There was plenty of confidence heading into this because in the FIH Pro League, when it came to the women's section, the Indian team finished a very credible third place. And because of that, we were expecting that India would at least reach the quarterfinal stages. The FIH Women's World Cup has not been a good happy hunting ground for India when it comes to the men and the women. The women's best appearance was 1974, and that was the last time they had reached the quarterfinals, the playoffs rather. But 40 years and counting, it's now nearing the 50th year, India still have not found the way of how to go about winning the FIH Women's World Cup. On the men's side, the last time they won the World Cup was in 1975, and because of that, this year, 2023, will be very important for the hockey team because two spots, or at, because four spots will be up for grabs for the Paris Olympics. So the summary of this match is India have lost 0-1 to Spain in the crossover match. So your quarterfinalists have all been determined. It is Netherlands, Belgium, Spain, Australia, Argentina, England. Imagine if the winner of this game, Spain versus India, they would have actually played Australia. That is no mean feat in itself. But India would have had the edge against Australia because remember, in the Tokyo Olympics, India had beaten Australia 1-0 in the quarterfinal to dump them out. So one can say that India had held the advantages, but here in the FIH Women's World Cup, they missed Rani Rampal. They really missed her. So that is one problem. Rakshit Malhotra saying we should restart the HIL. Look, rather than restarting the HIL, Rakshit, I would say, why don't you participate more in the FIH Pro Leagues? Look, it's a start. The HIL rather has helped men's hockey. Has it helped the women's hockey team? No. The women's hockey team don't have not had that much of benefit when it came to hockey leagues in India or around the world. I would rather say if you want future preparation, you have to play more in the FIH Pro League. The FIH Pro League gives you a chance to branch out and play a lot more tougher opponents. It's helping out for the men. Because remember, the men had a very improved showing by finishing third. They faced out to the likes of Belgium, Argentina, Netherlands. But this FIH Pro cycle was slightly weakened because Australia did not participate. So now what next for the India women's hockey team? Now they will play Canada and this will be now for the ninth to 16th positions. Even last year, in the last edition of the FIH Women's World Cup, the India women's hockey team did not finish well. And even here, history seems to be repeating itself. So it is a very sad way for the Indian team to go out. Savita Punia in many games showed her brilliance. She was, I think, the standout player along with Vandana Kataria. These two have ensured that India have a little bit of confidence heading into the Commonwealth Games. The next assignment for India is the Commonwealth Games and building up to that, perhaps assignments against, say, Argentina, against Netherlands, against the Belgium team. But for now, the Commonwealth Games remains the focus. Again, in this, India will not have it easy because Australia are the dominant team in the Commonwealth. So, heartbreak for India, they will now play Canada in the ninth to 16th place qualifications. Unfortunately, India did not end the tournament, did not win a single game in this tournament. Draw against England, draw against China, loss 3-4 to New Zealand. But because of those goals, they managed to get over to the crossover stage. So the campaign is over. Now let's see what India has to offer in the Commonwealth Games. Thank you so much for subscribing to this live. Stay tuned to Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis. We are also there on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Press the bell icon and you will be notified when we go live. Thank you guys. Good night.